Thank you, everything in the best way of paying homage to Woodstock 1969. It was such a pleasure, and I have something special for you guys. You guys are ready for something special? We have here a very important man who's actually at Woodstock and actually helped in the production of the movie.
Whoa.
Woodstock.
What? Way to go.
Is Mike Shreve. Mike Shreve. Which one's Mike Shreve? This one's Mike Shreve. Mike Shreve was the youngest musician on the stage at Woodstock. He had just turned 18 and he had just picked up a gig with a guy called Carlos Santana.
What?
And this is just a pale representation of what happened on that stage. This was the most magnificent representation.
Way to go.
I'm Dale Bell. I'm one of the, I'll cry. I'm one of the two producers that I hope to hell you people saw. How many people were at Woodstock?
I wish. I wish.
How many people saw the movie? Okay. How many people saw the movie more than once?
Anytime.
How many people saw the director's cut, which came out in 1999 when we, at the 30th anniversary of the film? I want to tell you that this film and this band have captured what we attempted to do in 9 months. They've done it in an hour. I would hire them tomorrow morning to represent what that gig was all about. You may not know it, but we're 8 blocks away from where my Woodstock team, and I don't want to mean I'll say our Woodstock team, set up headquarters in Hollywood in December of 1969 because we needed Hollywood technology to complete the movie. But I want to take you back to a little short story, if some of you not worn out butts on here and cheering and everything else. In 1969, it was August 10th. It was just about this time of year. August 10th, there was no film crew ready to make this movie. And if you saw the tickets behind here, the festival began on August 15, 16, and 17. So 1 week before the music began, our team, sat in a room opposite Zabar's in New York on 81st Street and Broadway and said to each other, you know, nobody's making this movie. Why the fuck don't we? Because if we shoot it and we own the negative, people will come knocking. And that was what making this film was all about. It was daring to take command of a situation where there was a power vacuum, where Mike Lang and Johnny Roberts and John Morris and Chip Monk and Steve Cohen and all the rest of the Woodstock team, they were clamoring for someone to make the movie, but they wanted $500,000 for the rights. And it was impossible in those days to find $500,000. Our team of, we were about a dozen people at that point, Mike Wadley, Bob Maurice, Larry Johnson, Jeannie Field, Thelma Schoonmaker, Sonia Polanski, Louis Teague. These were, who am I going to forget? Marty Andrews, a whole batch of people in New York who had all worked together for years in New York, in, of all places, public television. And it was because we had all worked in public television, and because we all knew what good stories were, and because we knew that we were in the middle of civil rights and the Vietnam War and women's rights and LBJ and assassinations like things you've never heard of before in your life. We said to each other, we've all been filming these things, we can tell good stories, let's organize a team. And on that day, it was really about August 9th, I think it was, we all sat in the room and said, you know, we can do this. We can dare to do this. Saturday, before the music began, we went up in 2 cars. There were about 8 of us, 9 of us. And we left behind a camera team and a sound team to begin shooting. And they stayed there and began shooting. We almost didn't have enough raw stock to give them to put into their cameras. And Mike Wadley and I and Bob Maurice, we were Bob was producer, I was associate producer, Michael was director, Thelma was editor, supervising editor, Larry Johnson was sound. We said to each other, let's go back to the office in New York, let's get organized, and let's do this. From Saturday night until Thursday, I did not sleep. I put together 50 people, organized 15 cameras, 50 magazines, hundreds of thousands of feet of raw stock, which Kodak did not have, in order to be able to supply this camera team that was working under the stage, on the stage, in the field, in order to capture what we envisioned. Multiple camera shoots of all of the performances, as much of them as we could get. We knew that there were some that we didn't need. We knew that there was other that had been in Monterey Pop. We ignored those because we wanted to capture new sound from all these people. And we endured those 4 days, ending with Jimmy's paean, his apology, his rendering of what he felt the state of the United States was at that time by playing the Stars-Spangled Banner and the way he played it on Monday morning, long after so many people had to leave and go back to their jobs on Sunday night and Sunday evening. And there were only maybe 5,000, 10,000 people left on Monday morning, and there were only 3 camera teams who were alive and well enough, awake enough to be able to shoot. Mike Wadley, David Myers, and I think 4, sorry, Dick Pierce and Don Lenzer. These guys had started with Richie, Freedom, Janice, of course, Jimmy at the end. Look at the little moniker out here in front. The future is female, I believe. Look at who's running. We have a job to do. These guys have represented part of the job. The rest of it is up to us. This is a tribute to a movie, and to not just a movie, but to a generation of people who devoted all of their energy to trying to capture and to tell this story forward. I wrote a book about how we as a team made the movie. You can find it on Amazon, Dale Dell, Woodstock, how we made the movie. Because I wanted all of the people, or many of the people who helped to make the movie, get credit for their extraordinary responsibility and accountability and bringing their skill sets to this filmmaking effort. You look at our movie, and damn it, we burst the bubble on all kinds of technology. I mean, sound, look at the sound. We were the first movie to use wraparound sound, 4-channel sound. And we were doing it right over here at Hollywood and Vine. Right here at Hollywood and Vine. And at Warner Brothers, because by that time Warner Brothers had picked up the movie. But we set up, there were 17 of us, and I was telling you that one of the people I had to say, I'm sorry you're not coming to Hollywood, was to dear Martin Scorsese, my dear friend, saying, Marty, we're taking 17 people and you're number 18. But of course, look at what he has become and who he was then. I mean, he was who he was. Who he is today, he was then. And Thelma, look at how the two of them have been working together since 1975, or they got back together again. This is historic stuff that this band has taken on, and this tribute to the era, to the music, to the performers, to what we tried to capture. I remember Alvin Lee, who was singing Going Home with the Watermelon. He came into the studio at Warner Brothers where we were editing. It's hellishly complicated to be able to explain what in Sandhill we were doing, but it's a screening room, and Alvin Lee came in with his band, and we played his 13, 14-minute sequence of Going Home, and he looked at us with tears in his eyes when the music stopped, when the film stopped, and he said, can you turn the lights off and play it again? Because, you know, if that's not me up there on the screen, I wish the hell it was me. He was so enthralled, and this happened time and time and time again to the performers as we brought them into the screening room at Warner Brothers in, I'm going to say March, end of February, March 1970. Our film opened March 21, 22, I forget, 1970. This is less than 9 months after we had shot 375 hours, 180 hours of film and 375,000 feet of film, and we had to edit all that down to what the distributors wanted, which was a 3-hour film. We gave Warner Brothers a 4-hour film. We fought for the last 2 weeks viciously, read about it in my book, about how long this film ought to be and what ought to be cut out and what ought to stay and why they wanted to cut it and all this stuff. It was furious. But we had an extraordinary team of people who had come from New York to Hollywood to finish it. And finally we settled on a 3-hour, 4-minute cut. They wanted to take this Purple Haze and Jimi Hendrix, they wanted to take it down to 5 minutes because it was too negative, an ending to a movie. And we were giving them not only Country Joe McDonald's, give me an F, we were giving them the finger because we were not going to let them cut. You know, this, which was, we felt, the most powerful message of the film, that in addition to Richie Havens at the beginning, we still have a fight on our hands. And what we've got to do is we've got to stay together, and the safety in numbers. Who was it? Wavy Gravy. There are 400,000 people out here, and we've got to keep feeding each other. That is as good a mantra as this one right down here, which is, the future is female. The future is female. Let us recognize it. Let us applaud it. I'm very humbled to be here with these guys, and believe me, the filmmakers, there were 200 people who helped to make this movie, and I'm just one of those dudes. But thank you.
Thank you.
Dale Bell, everyone. Give it up one more time for the band. Cora, Leah, Evan, and Laura, and Papa Sean. My name is Rhythm. Original Method. Thanks so much for being here. Come talk to us after. Oh, it is after. Come talk to us. Hang out.
Excellent.
You would have had to. Yeah, that's good.